Good morning from Springdale, Utah, just outside of Zion National Park. As you can tell by the beautiful picture behind me here, today you're going to be hiking the Narrows. For a full trail guide of the Narrows from bottom to top, you can check the link in the description below. So, as it's pretty obvious, I have my biking gear on this morning. I'm going to be making a 9-mile bike into the park and then starting the hike from there. So let's get after it. All right, pretty easy, beautiful bike ride through the beginning south part of Zion. I think I'm the only person in the park besides people who work here and all the rich people staying at the Zion Lodge. Yeah, it's surprising there's still some foliage on the trees, which is pretty cool. I'm at the Temple of Sinawava here, which is the end of the road in the park. And I'm going to start on the Riverside Walk, which will eventually get you to the start of the Narrows. It's about a mile to the start of the Narrows. While we're working our way along the Riverside Walk here, let's talk about the Narrows. To get to the most popular spot where you see every freaking Instagram model, every hashtag on Instagram is called the highway. The locals apparently named it that, but really I think the whole Narrow should be called the highway because of the amount of people in it. Heyo. It's too early, sorry. The Narrows can be as long as a hike as you want it to be. To get to the highway, it's about 6 miles round trip, but you can venture deeper. The entire canyon is really one canyon, but there is a split right after the highway called the Orderville Canyon, which we'll check out today if things go well. In general, you can only hike about 8 to 10 miles. The reports vary, but at a certain point in the Narrows, you need a backcountry permit to go more than 10-ish miles, so 5 miles in. If you don't want to make the 18-mile round trip bike, you can take a shuttle into the park. I'm not sure if it's just 2020 or permanently now, but you're not allowed to drive into it. So you do need to reserve a shuttle in 2020 because of COVID. It's $1, but this video might be a little outdated. So be sure to check the link in the description below for everything you need to know about the hike. In terms of time for this hike, it really depends who you listen to. It made me laugh reading All Trails and hearing some of the people in town. It sounds like anywhere from 10 hours to 10 days, depending on who you talk to. But realistically, it's going to be slow going once you hit the water. So I would allow for like 6 to 10 hours probably, depending on how far into the Narrows you go. Sharing the trail. This is the end of the line here, and as you can change into your gear if you have any. Let's talk about gear for this hike. So you will be in a canyon, which means that it's going to be pretty cold, or colder than the rest of where you are, regardless of the time of year. You can rent boots, you can rent pants, you can rent neoprene socks, which is like a wetsuit sock. It's like 40 bucks. I'm not going to give the name of any place because I really think none of them truly care about your business. A quick Google will find you what you need. You can rent a hiking stick or bring your own hiking poles. I ended up renting boots, socks, and dry pants because it's going to be cold as shit in the canyon today, and I'm not looking forward to it. Everything I'm wearing is getting a test right off the bat. And yeah, the water's cold, but it's not moving super fast, which is good. They will close it at a certain point, so be sure to check that, especially in the spring or after a big rain or snowstorm. If you've never been in a canyon before, one hint would be once you get to one side and it's super deep, the other side is probably not as deep. Although sometimes you're not going to be able to have this much space because there's going to be way more people here most likely at the end of the day. When I'm by myself, I can kind of zigzag and find the best route for me. The dry pants were worth every single cent. It's not like they're keeping me warm, but it's like a wetsuit. A little water gets in and it warms up, so it's really nice in these deeper sections. I know I will completely change my tune on this once I hit all the crowds on the way out, but this is amazing. It is so freaking cool. So freaking cool. Man, it's like a gamble chocolate with every step. You don't know what you're gonna get. Whew. Holy crap. This is really cool. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the start of the highway. It's pretty freaking awesome. Beautiful. Wow, I'm flying. So that's the Orderville Canyon there, and that's continuing on in the Narrows. I'm gonna hit Orderville Canyon here first, since it looks like I can travel through it pretty quickly, and then head back to the main canyon here. This Orderville Canyon here adds about a mile to your standard, if there is one, Narrows hike. The water here is much less deep and ends with a kind of waterfall. You certainly could keep going past the waterfall, but the Park Service recommends that you stop there just because it will get a lot more technical. You might need to do some rappelling and stuff. Let's talk about distance. If you're using a GPS, most likely the distance is going to be off on this hike because the satellite signal is going to bounce around in the canyon because it won't be able to find you, or it won't be able to find the satellite, I should say. So right now I know I'm like maybe 4 miles in and my watch says 9.5, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you bring a true GPS instead of like an activity tracker, you will be able to measure straight lines at least, but anything that's tracking will probably be off. No, I don't think I can bend down this low. Oh shit. Jesus. This canyon is a lot more open than the Narrows seems to be. So I think these are known as Moki Falls. So there's like steps in the sandstone over there, but it's wet and it's a cliffy hop down. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna turn around here. Seems like the end of the road. I'm sure there was a way to get up all of this, but you know, it's all good. I feel like I explored this canyon enough, and the canyon doesn't just end, so I'm gonna have to get used to that today, just being okay with kind of turning around. I'm not even sure if that is really the point, but I'd rather go back to the main area before it gets super crowded and just keep exploring that more. Back in the main canyon now, after taking a little side trip to Orderville. From this point out, the highway kind of ends, but the more difficult canyoneering, if you will, starts here. Okay, as you leave the highway, you're gonna have a lot more open canyon hiking, and there's some big boulders. I'm gonna show you the first one coming up here. These boulders are where the water is going to get pretty deep, like waist, chest deep. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video all of the gear, but having a dry bag is really clutch, so you can at least keep all your electronics and stuff 100% dry when you go in the deeper water. So you can see how deep it is. I'm really hoping it doesn't get much deeper, because after that it's gonna be very cold once it gets under my pants. Slow going. Once you get to this point right here, you're going to go right. That's super deep, and so is this, but it's a little bit easier to go down that way. Yeah, so after you get through the initial part, there's another drop down, and then you'll go like above the waist, maybe like to here. So definitely plan on getting wet there. But the right side is the way to go because there's just like more stuff to kind of grip onto. Sorry I couldn't film that. There's another couple right there, but maybe I'll film it on the way back and splice it in so you can see what it looks like at least. I have to imagine that that move, unless it's like summer and the water is really nice, probably turns around a bunch of people just because it's kind of, everything's really in the unknown. Gotta be honest with you, I don't really know what I'm looking for at this point. I know it's called Big Spring. I imagine it's a spring that's big, and I think it comes out of the rock. But yeah, based on my fantastic landmark recognition on the Orderville Canyon, I'm not really confident about spotting this so-called Big Spring. And to make it worse, I have absolutely no idea how far I've hiked because of the aforementioned GPS issues. It's gonna be deep. Holy shit. Historical moment right here. Oh man, first time I've been in the sun all day, and now I'm out of it. Another deep one here. Made it to Big Spring. Very, very beautiful. And of course, I'm the only one here. Closer look at Big Spring. Absolutely gorgeous here. Very, very worth this trip up here. All right, at Big Spring now. And yeah, so it took me about 3 hours, 45 minutes to get here. And that includes the Orderville Canyon as well. Obviously, I'm a pretty experienced hiker, so, you know, adjust your times accordingly. I would say that moving in here is very slow, and be careful of every single step, especially once you get past the highway, because it's not as well traveled, and so there's a lot more algae and plant life on the rocks. Absolutely beautiful at this spot though, and absolutely worth the extra hiking. I'm the only one here, which is amazing, but I know on the way out it'll not be the case. If you're new to my channel, I do virtual trail guides of the national parks, Arizona hiking, Utah hiking, Colorado hiking, and beyond. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button not to miss any future hike related content. Hit that bell button not to miss any future hike related content as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. For more information about this hike, you can check the link in the description below. I'll have a full trail guide, so everything you need to know from A to Z about Zion and this hike, the Narrows specifically. I don't mean to shit on people. This is obviously a very awesome spot, but for me, being alone right now, it's very, very lucky, and that will not last the rest of the hike. Beautiful spot here, and that's going to wrap up the video trail guide of the Narrows. Please subscribe not to miss any future hike related content, and we'll see you on the next adventure.